And gentlemen, thank you. We have a public hearing this evening on 3 ordinances that already received a prior first reading and adoption by council. We're going to do those 3 public hearings first before we roll into our regularly scheduled council meeting. So, the first public hearing is going to be on Ordinance 1148 concerning approving Budget Amendment 2024-10 to replace a sewer camera. Is anybody here this evening in the audience to speak on the Budget Amendment 2024-10? Any comments from the council? Okay, without any comments from the council or the public, we will now close public hearing on Budget Amendment 2024-10. The time is 7:02. Next public hearing will be on Ordinance 1149 concerning approving Budget Amendment 2024-11 to acquire a new mobile security unit. Is there anybody in the audience this evening here to speak on Ordinance 2024-11? Any comments from the council? Without any further comments from the council or from the public, we now close public hearing on Ordinance 1149. The time is 7:03. And our last ordinance for public hearing will be Ordinance 1150, which is amending Chapter 1, General Provisions to add new Article 5, Definitions and Rules of Construction. Is there anybody here this evening in the audience to speak on 1150? Comments from the council? Okay. Without any further comments from the council or the public, we will now close public hearing on Ordinance 1150. Time is 7:04. Now we can start our council meeting. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The time is now 7:04. I call to order a meeting of the Havre Grace Mayor and City Council. I will call the roll. Council President Ringsacker.
Here.
Councilmember Robertson.
Here.
Councilmember Jones.
Here.
Councilmember Boyer.
Here.
Councilmember Schnegas.
Here.
And Councilmember Boger.
Here.
All council members are present and accounted for. Could everybody please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance and opening prayer? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. If I could kindly ask everyone to remain standing, as it gives me great honor to welcome forward Miss Irmgard Brown, representing St. John's Episcopal Church. Irmgard, thank you very much for being here tonight. It's very great to see you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. So, please join me in prayer. Dear Creator God, I say thank you on behalf of all who are gathered here today. Thank you for your many and abundant blessings. Thank you for life itself, for the measure of health we need to fulfill our callings, for sustenance, and for friendship. Thank you for the ability to be involved in useful work and for the honor of bearing appropriate responsibilities. We pray for our mayor, for the various levels of city officials, and in particular, for this assembled council. We ask that you graciously grant to all of us wisdom to govern amid the conflicting interests and issues of our times, a sense of the welfare and true needs of our people, a keen thirst for justice and rightness, confidence in what is good and fitting, the ability to work together in harmony even when there is honest disagreement, and personal peace in our lives and joy in the tasks laid out before us. We pray for the agenda that's set out before us today. Please give everyone an assurance of what would please you and what would benefit all of us who live and work in and around our beloved city of Havre Grace. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Irmgard, thank you so much. We appreciate being here. Okay, we're going to go to item number 5, approval of the city council meeting minutes of April 15, 2024. Council may have a motion to approve. Motion by the council president and seconded by Councilmember Jones. Questions or comments on the minutes? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. April 15, 2024 council meeting minutes are approved, 6-0 in the affirmative. We're going to go to item 6, comments from citizens. This is the part of this evening's agenda. If you're here to speak on any item that's on this evening's agenda, now's the time to do so. If you're also here to speak on any other matter of city business, now's the time to do so. Now, what I normally do is if you fill out a form ahead of time, online or here at the desk outside, I'll call on those citizens first, and after that, I'll just open up the floor at large if anybody wishes to speak. So I'd like to call forward, I do have one form. I'd like to call forward Ms. Carolyn Zinner. Good evening, Ms. Zinner, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, council. I'm wearing my sour outfit tonight because I'm here to speak about the Martha Lewis yet again. Anyway, I'm here regarding the calendar resolution to approve an amendment on the lease, and I do want to thank Director Ritchie and Council Ishak for reviewing the current lease and also suggesting what amendments could be brought forward for council's approval. So I want to thank you for working with us. It was an integral part of getting her here this past Thursday. Didn't go without issue. We tried about 6 or 7 times to get her into the slip. The weather just was not cooperating at all in terms of the way the winds were blowing, but we finally got her in there, and everybody was safe and sound. The ride from the Wellington up here and to Havre de Grace was very uneventful and enjoyable, so it was nice to be back on her again after all these years. The last time I was here, I talked about some of the needs. We were at First Friday, and we did get some names for volunteers, and I had a list from last year that I saved, which was a little premature, I think. But at any rate, we're going to be contacting those individuals. But if anybody's listening to this, if they want to do some manual labor like deck painting and cleaning out and things like that, you'll be more than welcome. They're going to start with a primer this week and then starting to repaint the deck. It needs it. So at any rate, if there's anyone that needs something to do during the day or early evening, you'll be most welcomed. You can contact me at cz2429@gmail.com, and I'll make sure your information gets to the taskmaster of the repairs so that he can schedule the work appropriately. And then I want to thank everyone who supported the Martha Lewis restoration over the years, and worked on grants and worked on the repairs and things like that, because otherwise it would never have gotten back. And so it's really nice to see her, and it's just really a good feeling to go to Hutchins and see the Martha Lewis tag on the back of the ship. So anyway, thank you, everyone, and I hope everyone's agreeable to approving the amendments as designed. And again, thank you. Good night.
Thank you very much, Ms. Zinner. Thank you for the update. Okay, I'm now opening up the floor at large. Does anybody have any comments on the agenda or any other matter of city business? Yes, sir. Welcome to the council meeting, sir. Maybe please have your name and address for the record.
My name's Herbert Truslow. I live on Strawberry Lane. I'm going to say tomorrow is going to be my first time
Welcome.
voting in my life, and I'm going to say I'm going to be voting for you guys tomorrow, because there ain't nobody else that's running against you guys. So yeah. And the other question: what is the plan for the hospital? Is it going to be bought, tore down, or what's the plan's going to be for it?
No current plans right now. It's in the hands of the owners. Upper Chesapeake.
Well, they need, in my opinion, they need, and I already talked to Chris about it a long time ago, that you guys probably should buy it and turn it into, I don't say, something for the community and for like the kids, when they get out of school, they don't have nowhere to go, and I know that the chief is probably tired of probably talking to them, but you probably need to get like something to put have the kids to go somewhere and everything. So I'll probably see you guys sometime tomorrow, and you guys will all get my vote tomorrow.
Thank you, sir. Have a good evening. Who else wishes to address the council on a agenda item or a matter of city business? Any comments from the citizen, or from the council, I mean? Okay. Any further comments? We will move on to item number 7, appointments. Item A, appointments. We have one reappointment to the Economic Development Advisory Board, and I'll hand that off to Councilman Robertson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, fellow council members, it is my esteemed pleasure to ask for the reappointment of Scott Elliott to the Economic Development Advisory Board.
Council, I have a motion by Councilmember Robertson, seconded by the Council President. This is for the reappointment of Mr. Scott Elliott to the Economic Development Advisory Board. Questions or comment on Mr. Elliott's reappointment? All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say nay. Mr. Scott Elliott is reappointed to the Economic Development Advisory Board.
I don't think we've ever got an applause for a reappointment. Hey, that's awesome. Scott's a well-liked guy.
Every once in a while, do something right. Okay, good job. And we're going to go to number 8, recognitions. We have no recognitions this evening. Number 9, proclamations. We have no proclamations. And that takes us to item 10, presentations. We have 2 presentations this evening. One will be the Historic Preservation Awards, which is done annually. But the first thing we're going to do is recognize a young man who is an Eagle Scout candidate. And I'd like to call him forward with any people that he'd like to bring up with him. And
It's also his birthday.
birthday?
Yeah, it's my birthday.
Hey,
Do I speak into this, or like what's
okay,
the
so,
goal here?
perfect. All right, you're going to give a presentation. So your floor is yours.
All right, sounds good. Good evening, everyone. If you don't already know, I am George P.J. Cook. I recently did an Eagle project around Havre Grace, and I'll get to that in a minute because the presentation does the talking for me, mostly. Before we get started, I do want to call out a few people in the audience. First of all, we have our Troops Scoutmaster, Mr. Troy Duff. If you could please stand up. Please stand up. He helps keep the troop running, and he was instrumental in helping my project. And as well as also that, Mr. Dave French as my Eagle advisor. He got me through a lot of the parts of this project. And lastly, my family here for some support because this is a big moment for me. I was not expecting to do this. All right, so let's get on with this presentation. Which way does it go? There we go. All right. So, as you can see up here, my Eagle project involved putting up 14 bat boxes all around Havre Grace. They were mounted via using 12-foot wooden poles, and they were sunk into holes that were drilled by an auger. The location specifically, there were 2 boxes down at the Moore Homestead. There was 2 down at the Promenade, 2 near the lock fence near the lighthouse. There was 2 near David Craig Park, and 6 in total spread around the Lock House grounds. I'm sure that if you go walking around those areas, you could see them stand up nice and high. We made sure that they stood still. All right, so let's start. How was this done? So this whole process started by taking 2 9-inch boards, and we laid them horizontally, right? I said that. Yeah, horizontal on the back of the bat boxes, and then we put over top of those a 22-inch board to basically serve as what I call a backboard for the bat boxes, so that way they could then be put onto the posts. And we did that by drilling holes into the 12-foot posts, and then we put in lag bolts, nice and tight, to keep them still. We then drilled holes on a separate workday using an auger about 34 inches deep. And then we filled them in with some pea gravel and the dirt we used to dig everything up. So that way nothing went to waste. After that, there were some boxes that were a little bit questionable, albeit 2 that were dug into muddy grounds per se. So the next day, I personally, along with some help from people in the crowd, we went and checked those boxes to make sure that they were standing still, and also we reinforced them with some extra wood so that way they wouldn't shift in case anything weird happened. As you can see up in these pictures, the first one with that car in there, that is from one of our first work days where we were installing the backboards to them. That is not the entirety of them, that was taken halfway through. And then the second picture is us tamping down the poles with the dirts in order to be able to keep them still. That is a big crowd of people that came in to help, so big thanks to them too. So, why is this per se a good thing? Well, for one thing, bats are very important. They eat a lot of bugs, they're essential to environmental functions, but they're also a little bit in a predicament with extinction. So the bat boxes serve to give them a home that is not inside your house, which a lot of people will be thankful for. And they also serve as a roosting spot for not only normal bat species, but also ones that may be on the brink of a little bit of an extinction, such as little brown bat and the eastern red bat, shown up on the pictures, but also hoary bat, eastern small-footed myotis, key myotis, house bats, Indiana bats, and so on. So this is all in an attempt to give them like a good place to stay, and also to help populations go. All right, so who needs to be thanked? Because there are a lot of people that went into this project. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank Mr. Jimmy Rainsacker, because he was the person who connected me with council to get this project in the first place. Without, we'll take that start. Without you, I would not be doing this project and standing here right now, so a big thank you. Second of all, Mr. Joe Conaway, I don't believe he's in the audience currently, but he served as kind of my talking point from council in order to be able to talk the logistics. He was the person that gave me the donated bat boxes, the person that helped check Mr. Utility and all that. He was very helpful in getting this project moving. Mr. Dave French, as I've mentioned before, served as my Eagle advisor. He helped me work through many of the parts of the project because an Eagle project is confusing, and it made a lot more sense. Mr. Troy Duff, again, because he served as the scoutmaster for the troop, helps keep the troop running. He served as a nice handyman when it came to things like using a trailer in order to get tools around and wood around, and also just as a good talking point. And finally, City Council right here, because you allowing me to present this project right here and now. And this was very unexpected for me, and I feel very grateful that you even asked me to do this. And lastly, we got some pictures. So here is the first work day. This was around at my house. This was installing the backboards. As you can see, we have a nice big crowd full of adults and scouts putting the wood together via screws, and it all went well very nicely. And then we got some parts from work day 2. The picture in the center, our mayor actually decided to stop by and say hi at one point, so it was very nice. We got a nice picture with him with the entire crowd. A lot of these people are mainly from the troop, so I was very grateful that a lot of them came down there to help me out. That's what we do on the troop, we help each other out. And then second slide is just us finishing up bat boxes, putting them up, and then that last picture is after we finished. All 14 bat boxes all in one day. And that's it for me. Thank you very much for listening, and thank you for letting me come down here and talk about it. Do you want your pointer back? All right.
Oh, don't sit down yet.
Hold on, we got something for you.
All right.
One second.
But wait, it's not over. There's more. But wait, there's more.
Go ahead. Come on.
So, years ago, back before I was even on council, we had the Wage and Benefits Commission. Chris Ritchie was on it with me. We did some really good things, we think. And we talked about ways to save the city some money. So we had small projects around town that like these bat boxes were donated to the city, but we didn't have the manpower to get them put up. And there are other like small things around town that, like the floating vegetation platform that Austin just did, and my son's going to do pull-up bars and small projects that instead of having our city staff do, we have our scouts come and do for Eagle Scout projects. And PJ, you did a fabulous job. We're very proud of you. Thank you very much. I've known you for so long, and I'm just I'm so happy to see you progress this far. And if you look over here, I think he's got basically every single merit.
Not all of them. I got a healthy number. I'm starting to work on the back, so there's more.
PJ's an exemplary kid in our troop, and I'm very pleased to be one of his assistant scoutmasters.
Thank you.
I have an important question for you. Do you know how to light a fire using twigs and dry grass?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got to say, I'm very disappointed.
I was never able to do that. I was just wondering if you actually mastered it. Okay. PJ, very, very proud of you. When I stopped by the other day just to, say hi and see how the project was going, you gave me a good education on the bat boxes and the importance. And, not that I didn't approve it anyway or thought it was a good idea, but the young man really knows what he's talking about. And, I can assure you there's going to be visitors on our promenade that's going to be, well, what are these boxes for? But once they learn what it's for, bats are an amazing species in the environment, almost as important as bees are. And they fly around, and God knows we need some bugs eating around the promenade, especially some spiders. So once you told me to eat bugs and spiders, I said, all right, we need some more bat boxes. But more than that, I know the time that you've put in since Cub Scouts. I know how much time your family's put in and your support team of your fellow Cub Scouts and all your other coaches and team leaders. And I know it's no easy task to rise to the rank to be a candidate for Eagle Scout. And so we're very proud of you. You're a son of Havre de Grace, and we're all proud of our Havre de Grace Eagle Scouts here. So I present you this flag of Havre de Grace on behalf of myself and the city council members. Fly it wherever you want. Fly it at your home, fly it in your bedroom, and when it fades out and wears away, you come back to City Hall and get another one, okay?
I think we need pictures of Mom and Dad, though. We need pictures of Mom and Dad and sister up here. Come on. Come up.
Bring the juice bar over. Let's get them all up here. They all serve a big part in this. This ain't just my moment. This is theirs too. Thank you all very much.
Okay, wonderful. That was a great presentation. And so now we're going to go to another important presentation that happens once every year. The members of the Havre de Grace Historic Preservation Commission get together and they meet and they come up with a list of houses that have done amazing work on historic preservation. And every year they nominate 3 different houses or properties or buildings or structures. And so I'd like to call forward the representatives of the Historic Preservation Awards to give the background and announce the winners of this year's award. Welcome.
Hey, welcome. I'm Kathleen Lee, Vice Chair. I'm here once again. Every year I come about this time and award properties that we think have really done a nice job of keeping our historic atmosphere in the city. I've got 3 properties. I know that some people are here. I was hoping for more. Oh, great. Excellent, excellent, excellent. All right, okay. These are our winners. These are people who have taken a great pride in their homes. 557 Green Street. The Cossacks. You can clap. They have a very nice 1920s era bungalow, which they have kept very nicely up. It really looks like could have come right from the 1920s. There's been no modernization or anything. All the original detail and trim are there. It really looks nice. And we decided at the commission that this was definitely one of our properties that we wanted to award this year. Our second property is 515 Bourbon Street. Ta-da. And they bought this house recently, yes, and have really been working hard on fixing it up, keeping the original character, putting new cedar shingles on it rather than siding it with vinyl or aluminum or whatever, hardy board. And it really looks nice. They've done a really nice job. In the commission, we all agreed that this was definitely one of the properties that we wanted to give an award to this year. That's right. That's right. I used to be a neighbor, Our last property is 101 North Union, the parsonage. There was an older house that was built in 1854 on this site. But back in 1927, this house was given to the United Methodist Church, and they tore it down and built this magnificent two-story home, which they have lovingly kept up. It was totally redone on the interior and part of the exterior a number of years ago, and it still looks really nice. I don't know who's representing.
I am.
You are,
Chief
okay.
Beckley.
Okay. Roger, you want to bring up the plaques? Ellen, you want to help? Kathy? Kathy? Oh, yeah. Come on and help. You need me? Yes, I need you. There isn't enough people.
Okay, yeah.
Ask to put in front of the house or on the house or however you feel free, and you get this too. A bonus. Everybody gets a bonus.
We can go down there.
There you go. All get this. A bonus. A bonus. 515 Bourbon was built by the Gilberts in 1923, and that's why the Gilbert name is on the plaque. And yeah, we believe it was a Sears Craftsman, but it might have been another company. There were a number of mail order house companies back then. I could not find this model looking through the Sears Roebuck database that I have, but there was a number of other companies also. And supposedly the rumor was that it was brought up the Chesapeake Bay by barge, but it could just have easily been loaded into a railroad car and brought here by railroad, because a number of the other Sears-built homes here were brought up by boxcar.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I was
Oh,
just
that's
gonna
all right,
say,
Jason.
I used to live right next door there.
Yes, I know.
The previous owner had told me that he had some pictures of it on the barge or something, so I don't know if that's something to maybe touch base with him about. We have not seen those. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, yeah, he might have, but he didn't give them to the present owners.
He was
Just-
known to lie anyway, so.
Oh, was he?
Well, we have had a few drinks on that porch, though.
Oh, did you? Oh, okay. Well, it might have been, but it might not have been. The majority of them were brought by boxcars. They were actually loaded at the plant. Every piece of lumber was numbered. Every roof shingle was numbered. Every piece of trim was numbered. They were loaded into a boxcar. Usually they could fit everything into one big boxcar, and then they were railroaded to the city that they were going to be erected in. So, but it makes a good story saying it came up by barge. So I'd like to present our winners, and I do believe that the mayor has something to say.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. A couple things I'd like to say. I wonder if everybody would mind
Yeah, if
coming
everybody
in
could
here,
come up here.
just make like a little half circle ring here, half ring. So, congratulations, everybody. I actually happen to know everybody here tonight, so. So again, as I said earlier, every year the Historic Preservation Commission who knows the city inside and out. I mean, they know all the properties, and historic properties. A lot of times when a historic property goes to new ownership and things like that, and it's, like I said, there's no law that says you have to fix up a house, but when you have a citizen that cares enough to do so, that's how the city keeps its charm, keeps its heritage from generation to generation. It's very important, especially, you know, very big structures such as United Methodist Church. I mean, it's very iconic to our city. If you look at any old postcards from 1910, 1920, Union Avenue, it's a very standout structure, and it's still there today and still in really good shape. And we appreciate, you know, the attention, the time, and the money that goes into that church. The Green Street House, I've known Michelle for a long time. Used to work with Michelle at Aberdeen High School, and nice new citizens to Havre de Grace recently, and I know your neighbor well in the Pink House, and so we've met a few times. So again, all these great people in Havre de Grace that just really invest in their community, invest in their block, and the city couldn't be more grateful for it. And I think the members of the Historic Preservation Commission did a really wonderful job selecting these individuals. So I brought Councilmember Jones up here. She's the liaison to the council for Historic Preservation Commission. Would you like to say any words, Councilmember Jones?
I was just going to say great job, too, to the commission for choosing these homes. And we're so excited that you will have this in front of your home just to show just how great we think your property is. So thank you very much.
So now, since you put a lot of time and effort and sweat equity into your homes, I'm very happy to pass the microphone out if anybody wanted to tell a story. Anybody want to tell a story of the preservation?
You two look like you want to share a story, so
Any
please.
funny stories? Or, yes. Tell us what brought you here and what attracted you to the house.
Well, we wanted to live in Havre de Grace. There weren't a lot of properties that came on the market, and we were fortunate that Bourbon Street came on the market. We love the house. We're glad to have restored it back to what it rightfully should be. And we love the community. We think it's a great place to live. Trying to talk all our friends into coming to Havre de Grace. So, but we very much appreciate this honor that you've given us, and happy to be here with the others that have been honored also.
And you're a Hartford County residents from Bel Air, and you came to Havre. So great, excellent. Welcome to Havre de Grace. Michelle, anything? And you've lived in your house for a while, right?
This is 20 plus years in my home, and I've been in Hartford County since 1983-ish. My mother's a Bel Air graduate, so I'm a longtime Hartford County plant, and Havre de Grace has called to me for many, many years. And the house that I'm in called to my soul, and it is a beautiful place, and my husband and I have created a home. And the young gentleman that came in that talked about the bat boxes, I remember very large oak trees across the lot from us, and in the evenings the bats would come out in the millions, and you could hear them as they would pass by you, and I miss that, so I really appreciate his efforts in bringing the bat boxes back. So yes, it's a beautiful place to live, and of course, we've gone back many, many, many years, and I'm so proud of where we've come. It's exciting, right?
I know, it's pretty wild. And thank you, Michelle. United Methodist Church want to say anything?
Hi. I'm the trustee president, so we have done a lot of work on that and keeping the detail of the inside. That was done a number of years ago by one of our members who has since passed. He did an awesome job on it. And we're getting a new pastor, so we're getting ready to clean up and maybe fix a few things in there. But thank you for this honor of giving this to us. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you. Absolutely, 100%. So just like you don't have to be an Eagle Scout to get a flag. So that's the good news. So I proudly present everyone with a flag of your city. And I'm telling you in front of everybody, so you know, you're holding my word. Please fly it proudly, and if your flag tethers or fades, come right into City Hall and say who you are and say, Mayor Martin told me that I could get a new flag. And so we're honored to have you fly our flag, if you choose to do so, on your property. Yes?
Also, there's
Oh.
Oh, you have to sign things.
I forgot. Oh, yes. This is what we do here in the city mostly. So Everybody has a recognition, something that you can take home and frame. I always like to sign it in front of people. Thank you. Thank you, Council, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mike. Have a good night. Tough time to clean that house up. Here we go. Mike was up. Okay, we will move on with our agenda this evening. We're going to go to item 11, resolutions. We have two resolutions this evening. Item A, Charter Resolution 301, concerning amending Section 47, and I'll hand it off to the Council President.
Mr. Mayor, Council, citizens all, I move to introduce Charter Resolution number 301 concerning amending Section 47, eliminating the requirement that the Director of Administration execute a corporate bond before discharging duties, for second reading and adoption.
Council, I have a motion by Council President and seconded by Councilman Robertson. This is a motion to introduce a resolution concerning amending Section 47. Questions or comments on the introduction? All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say nay. Motion to introduce a resolution carries 6-0 in the affirmative. Again, this is Charter Resolution 301. A resolution by the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace, Maryland, pursuant to the local government article of the Annotated Code of Maryland in sections 33 and 34 of the city charter to amend Section 47, eliminating the requirement that the Director of Administration execute a corporate bond before discharging duties. Council, do I have a motion to adopt Charter Resolution 301?
Second.
Motion by Councilman Robertson and seconded by the Council President. Questions or comments? Council President?
So this is just bookkeeping, cleaning up the books and stuff. So under the current situation, the Director of Administration is required to have a corporate bond before he can execute his duties, when in reality, he's covered under the insurance plan for the city. So it's just redundant and it's not necessary. So we actually want to bring the current charter up to what our current practice is.
Thank you very much, Council President. Any other questions or comments? Okay, Council, we're going to do a roll call vote on Charter Resolution 301. Councilmember Boger.
Yes.
Council President.
Yes.
Councilmember Robertson.
Yes.
Councilmember Jones.
Yes.
Councilmember Boyer.
Yes.
Councilmember Shenanigans.
Yes.
By roll call vote of 6-0 in the affirmative, City Charter Resolution 301 is adopted. Go to item B, counter resolution concerning amending a lease agreement. And that's going to go to Councilmember Shenegis.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. I move to introduce calendar resolution concerning amending a lease agreement with Chesapeake Heritage Conservancy.
Council, I have a motion by Councilmember Shenegis, seconded by Councilmember Robertson. This is a motion to introduce a counter resolution. Questions or comments on the introduction of this resolution? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion to introduce resolution carries 6-0 in the affirmative. Council, we will call this counter resolution 2024-07. 2024-07. A counter resolution by the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace, Maryland, adopted pursuant to the authority of Article 11E of the Maryland Constitution, the local government article of the annotated Code of Maryland in sections 33, 34, and 36 of the Havre de Grace City Charter to amend a dock lease between the city and Chesapeake Heritage Conservancy Incorporated for the use of the Hutchins Park Pier. Council to have a motion to adopt counter resolution 2024-07.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Boker and seconded by Councilmember Shenegis. Questions or comments? Councilmember Shenegis.
The amendments for this resolution will allow the Heritage Conservancy to not be able to operate the Martha Lewis with more than 6 passengers until obtaining a certificate of inspection from the U.S. Coast Guard, allowing more passengers for a capacity. Additionally, the city may require the Heritage Conservancy to dock the Martha Lewis at an alternate location if a conflict or dock space at Hutchins Parks exists. In the event the Martha Lewis is required to relocate to an alternate location, the city will provide advance written notice to the Heritage Conservancy at least 5 days prior to such relocation unless an emergency exists, in which case will be provided as soon as reasonably practical. In addition, the insurance necessary will be reduced from $3 million to $1 million in this amendment.
Motion to amend?
Motion to amend?
Motion to amend.
Motion to amend.
Okay, I have a motion to amend by Councilmember Shenegis. Do I have a second? Second by Council President. Questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say nay. Councilmember Shenegis' amendment carries 6-0 in the affirmative. Okay, we're still back under the motion to adopt 2024-07. Right? Okay. Any other further questions or comments? Councilmember Boyer.
So I was pleased to see that there's going to be opportunities for educational cruises for the community as compensation for, or consideration for the dock fee. Is there any information on how that's going to work?
Well, from my understanding is that once they are able to give cruises and open that up to the public, that will serve as a, like a good faith bond that they're going to actually serve the community, which will allow us to waive that fee. So it's just a matter of getting the approval from the Coast Guard and then having that fall into place. So,
would people sign up for this? How do we have any information yet about that? Can she answer
that would be
question?
great, Carolyn. Thank you.
And if you want.
Carolyn, can you come to the mic so people can hear it?
Last year, we had a very active education committee working on this. And as it unfolded, we didn't get the boat up here. So we're in the process of working with that individual again to see if she can start working with the education pieces. And they do have connections with Harford County Public Schools. So the idea is to even try to partner with maybe the Havre de Grace Maritime Museum if possible, or the Lock House, to get some educational programs through them, more based on the ecology of the bay and repurposing and maybe putting, taking a little trip out and putting oysters back into the bay. So we have those plans, and we actually have a breakdown of the things that were done in the past, and I did present that several weeks ago. And that's the plan this time, and maybe we can do other things as well as time progresses and as ideas come into us about the best use. But there's definitely a desire and a want to involve the community in any way possible in education events, in volunteer events. I think I mentioned maybe an Eagle Scout program with education one time when I was here. So anything that we can find and anything that we hear about that's feasible will definitely be considered.
Okay. I know there's a lot of nostalgia about the
the
Martha Lewis, so.
Yeah, and
how
we have a history, and so we know what to build on and what people liked doing, and so we're hoping that we can revive those programs and maybe add something new, because certainly times have changed and the ecology of the bay has changed, and we may have much better opportunities this time around.
Got it. Thank you.
We're not going to forget anyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Good. Any other questions? Okay. We're just going to do a roll call vote on the amended resolution. Councilmember Shenanigans?
Yes.
Councilmember Boker?
Yes.
Council President Ring-Soccer?
Yes.
Councilmember Robertson?
Aye, aye.
Councilmember Jones?
Yes.
Councilmember Boyer?
Yes.
By roll call vote of 6-0 in the affirmative, City Council Counter Resolution 2024-07 is adopted. We're going to go to item 12, ordinances. And item A, ordinance 1148 on second reading. Councilmember Robertson.
Good evening again, Mr. Mayor, fellow council members. I move to introduce on second reading ordinance number 1148 concerning budget amendment 2024-10.
Second?
I have a motion by Councilmember Robertson, seconded by Councilmember Boyer. This is motion to introduce ordinance 1148 on second reading. Questions or comments on the introduction? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion to introduce ordinance 1148 on second reading carries 6-0 in the affirmative. An ordinance by the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace by the authority of Article 11E of the Maryland Constitution, a local government article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, and Sections 37 of the Havre de Grace City Charter, for the purpose of amending the city budget for fiscal year 2024 to address additional allocation of funds for the city of Havre de Grace for fiscal year 2024. Council, do I have a motion to adopt ordinance 1148?
So moved. Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Boker and a second by the Council President. This is a motion to adopt 1148 on second reading. Questions or comments? Council will do a roll call vote. Councilmember Boyer?
Yes.
Councilmember Shenanigans?
Yes.
Councilmember Boker?
Yes.
Council President?
Yes.
Councilmember Robertson?
Yes.
Councilmember Jones?
Yes.
By roll call vote of 6-0 in the affirmative, City Council Ordinance 1148 is adopted on second reading. Item B, Ordinance 1149, second reading. Councilmember Robertson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, fellow council members, I move to introduce on second reading ordinance number 1149 concerning budget amendment 2024-11.
Council, I have a motion by Councilmember Robertson. May I have a second? Second. Second by Councilmember Jones. This is a motion to introduce 1149 on second reading. Questions or comments on the introduction of this ordinance? All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say nay. Motion to introduce ordinance 1149 on second reading is approved. 6-0 in the affirmative. 1149 is an ordinance by the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace by the authority of Article 11E of the Maryland Constitution, the local government article of the annotated code of Maryland, and sections 37 of the Havre de Grace City Charter for the purpose of amending the city budget for fiscal year 2024 to address additional allocation of funds for the city of Havre de Grace for fiscal year 2024. Council, have a motion to adopt ordinance 1149 on second reading.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by the council president and seconded by Councilmember Robertson. Questions or comments? We'll do a roll call vote. Councilmember Jones.
Yes.
Councilmember Boyer.
Yes.
Councilmember Shenagus.
Yes.
Councilmember Boker.
Yes.
Council President.
Yes.
Councilmember Robertson.
Yes.
By roll call vote of 6-0 in the affirmative, City Council Ordinance 1149 concerning approving budget amendment 2024-11 to acquire a new mobile security unit is approved on second reading. Item C, ordinance concerning repealing and replacing Chapter 31. Do I have a motion to, oh, wait a minute, that goes to Councilmember Shenagus.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. I move to introduce ordinance concerning repealing and replacing Chapter 31, building construction, in the first reading.
Council, I have a motion by Councilmember Shenagus. May I have a second? Seconded by Councilmember Jones. This is a motion to introduce an ordinance repealing and replacing Chapter 31 regarding building construction. Any comments or questions on the introduction of this ordinance on first reading? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion to introduce ordinance carries 6-0 in the affirmative. This will now be known as Ordinance 1151-1151. An ordinance by the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace adopted pursuant to the authority of Article 11E of the Maryland Constitution, the local government article of the annotated code of Maryland, in sections 33 and 34 of the Havre de Grace City Charter for the purpose of repealing and replacing Havre de Grace City Code, Chapter 31, building construction. Council, may I have a motion to adopt Ordinance 1151 on first reading?
So moved.
Second.
Councilmember Shenagus, second by the Council President. Questions or comments? Council President.
This is an adoption of the International Building Code, and because the city, it's in our interest to stay on the same schedule as the county in adoption of the International Building Code, I move to suspend the rules to allow a second reading at the next meeting, which would be the same night as the public hearing.
All right. Thank you very much, Council President. Any other questions or comments? Council, do a roll call vote on 1151.
The amendment. I made amendment.
Oh,
needs a
sorry.
second.
Their amendment. Sorry about that. Council President has an amendment. Does he have a second?
I have a motion, that is. I have a motion to suspend the rules to allow for the second reading at the next meeting, so we need a second. So it's not technically an amendment, it's just a motion under the original motion.
Did you have to
Is that correct?
pass it first and then do that motion?
Can I just ask for a second?
No, I'm saying, would it be an amendment? Are we allowed to, I'm asking for Robert's Rules of Orders, I apologize.
Go ahead. Start
So
from the beginning.
The question is whether or not, because this is a motion, and I'm not making an amendment, I'm making another motion within the motion, if we should wait until after this is passed and then make a motion, or if it can be read now as a motion.
I would go through the
comments.
normal adoption of it, and at the end of it, someone can make a motion to.
Then I withdraw my motion.
Okay. So we'll just
Withdraw
treat
the
it as the normal, we'll go through the process of the introduction and the vote. Then after it's been voted on, if it receives a affirmative vote, then you can step in and make a motion for that.
Just want to make sure we're doing it right.
Not a problem.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're still under the motion to adopt on first reading. Any further questions or comments? Okay, roll call vote. Councilmember Robertson?
Yes.
Councilmember Jones?
Yes.
Councilmember Boyer?
Yes.
Councilmember Shenagus?
Yes.
Councilmember Boker?
Yes.
And Council President.
Yes.
By roll call vote of 6-0 in the affirmative, City Council Ordinance 1151 concerning repealing and replacing Chapter 31 building construction is adopted on first reading. Council President, do you have anything you'd like to say?
Yes, sir. Actually, because it's in the interest of the city to adopt the International Building Code at the same time the county does, I move to suspend the rules to allow for a second reading the same night as the public hearing, which will be the next meeting.
Okay, so we will have a public hearing on 1151 at the next council meeting, which is May 20th.
May 20th, yep.
And you would also like to hold the second vote on that, so.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what we'll do is, is something we need to vote on, Ms. Ishak, or is it something the council president mayor can just put on the agenda?
So technically, you would need to vote on it again at the meeting that you're going to suspend the rules at. So you could do it now and then, or you could just do it at the next meeting. Because you have to do it at the meeting you're actually suspending the rules for.
We'll just keep it simple, and you and I will put it on the agenda,
Put it on the agenda.
and then we'll just make a motion to suspend the rules and vote.
Okay.
Okay, fair enough. All right, public hearing on 1151 is going to be on May 20th. That's 7 o'clock. Easy peasy.
Sure. Like watching the sausage being made.
That's right. All right, item D, establishing a tax rate. Councilmember Robertson.
Good evening again. I move to introduce an ordinance concerning establishing the tax rate for FY 2025.
Council, I have a motion by Councilmember Robertson. May I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by the council president. This is a motion to introduce an ordinance to establish a tax rate for fiscal year 2025. Question or comments on the introduction? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion to introduce the ordinance carries 6-0 in the affirmative. Council, this will be known as Ordinance 1152-1152. An ordinance by the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace, Maryland, pursuant to the authority provided by the annotated Code of Maryland, Tax Property Article Title 6, and the Local Government Article of the annotated Code of Maryland, fixing the tax rate for the fiscal year July 1st, 2024 to June 20th, 2025 on each $100 of assessable real property, personal property, and providing an additional special tax levied within the critical area, special taxing district, and setting the service charge for a semi-annual property tax payment option. Council, to have a motion to adopt 1152 on first reading.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Robertson, and it's seconded by the council president. Questions or comments on the tax rate? Councilmember Robertson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to defer to the Director of Finance, Mr. George Doherty, to briefly describe the changes between last year and this year in the tax rate.
Basically, there's only one very minor.
Oh, Mike.
Thank you. Basically, there's only one very, very minor change in the tax rate, and it has to do with the semi-annual service fee. It's gone up a couple of tenths of a %. That fee is calculated every year based on the average interest earned by state regulation, and we got slightly better rates than last year, so the fee's gone up. I think it's 0.02 of a percentage point, so it's not going to make a big deal on the semi-annual payments, but that's the only change in the rates this year.
Thank you, George.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Councilmember Robertson. Any other questions, sir? Councilmember Robertson, good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Any other questions or comments? Okay. Thank you, George, for the clarity. Just in case anybody at home just couldn't catch all that, most important thing you need to walk away with is that the city tax rate is staying the same. It's not being changed. Without any other further questions or comments, this is a first reading ordinance on the tax rate. And we're going to do a roll call vote. Council President?
Yes.
Councilmember Robertson?
Yes.
Councilmember Jones?
Yes.
Councilmember Boyer?
Yes.
Councilmember Shenanigans?
Yes.
And Councilmember Boger?
Yes.
By roll call vote of 6-0 in the affirmative, City Council Ordinance 1152 concerning the establishing a tax rate for fiscal year 2025 is carried 6-0 in the affirmative. And Council President, public hearing at the next council meeting on May 20th be okay?
May the 20th.
Okay. We will have the council meeting, or we'll have the public hearing at the next council meeting on May 20th on Ordinance 1152. We're going to go to item E, ordinance concerning and establishing the water and sewer rates for next fiscal year. And I hand off to Councilmember Boger.
Mayor Martin, members of council, I move to introduce on first reading an ordinance concerning the establishment of the water and sewer rates for fiscal year FY 2025.
Council, I have a motion by Councilmember Boger to have a second.
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember Robertson. This is a motion to introduce an ordinance that will establish the water and sewer rates for fiscal year 2025. This is an introduction of that ordinance. Are there any questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion to introduce the ordinance carries 6-0 in the affirmative. This is an ordinance by the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace, Maryland, adopted pursuant to the authority of Article 11E of the Maryland Constitution, the local government article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, Section 33 and 34 of the Havre de Grace City Charter, City Code Chapter 196 and Exhibit A, thereto establishing the city water and sewer rates and service participation fees for the users of the city water and sewer system. This will be known as Ordinance 1153-1153. Council, we have a motion to adopt on first reading Ordinance 1153.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Robertson and seconded by Councilmember Boger. Questions or comments? Councilmember Boger.
Just for some clarity too, so for FY 25, the sewer rate remains unchanged, but the actual water rate is set to increase. That's what this ordinance contains. Just want to kind of level set. The water's changing, sewer's not. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Boger. Any other questions or comments? Okay. Council, we're going to do a roll call vote on 1153. Councilmember Boger?
Yes.
Council President?
Yes.
Councilmember Robertson?
Yes.
Councilmember Jones?
Yes.
Councilmember Boyer?
Yes.
Councilmember Schnegas?
Yes.
By roll call vote of 6-0 in the affirmative, City Council Ordinance 1153 concerning establishing water and sewer rates is adopted on first reading. Council President, public hearing on May 20th, okay?
The 20th works for me.
All right, sounds good. Okay, public hearing on the water rate will be at the next council meeting, May 20th. Item F, concerning traffic change pattern on Congress, and we're going to hand that off to Councilmember Boyer.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, I move to introduce an ordinance concerning the changing of the traffic pattern on Congress Avenue.
Second.
Council, I have a motion by Councilmember Boyer, and it's seconded by Councilmember Schnegas. This is an ordinance concerning changing the traffic pattern on Congress Avenue. Questions or comments on the introduction of this ordinance? All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say nay. Motion to introduce an ordinance carries 6-0 in the affirmative. This will be known as Ordinance 1154-1154. An ordinance by the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace, Maryland, adopted pursuant to the authority of Article 11E of the Maryland Constitution, the local government article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, and Sections 33 and 34 of the Havre de Grace City Charter to change the traffic pattern on Congress Avenue. Council, I have a motion to adopt Ordinance 1154 on first reading.
So moved.
Second.
A motion by Councilmember Boyer, second by Councilmember Jones. Questions or comments? Councilmember Boyer.
So as you all will recall, as we've been discussing the process of doing the renovations in the downtown, one of the topics that consistently was raised is concerns in regards to parking. This is an attempt to provide additional parking spots within the downtown area And the other thing that we heard very clearly is people liked the pull-in parking as much as possible too. So what's great about this attempt at trying to increase the amount of parking is if by making this street one-way and having pull-in parking, what it really involves is us just painting new lines so that we don't have to construct anything to make any changes for this. If it doesn't work out in the end, then we can just put it back as it was. But this is an attempt to try to address the concerns raised by the residents in regards to parking downtown.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Boyer. Any other questions or comments? Council President?
Due to issues brought up by the police department and DPW, we were asked to, and I'll be introducing at the next meeting after we have little conversations. They want us to change the direction instead of from west to east. So instead of from the church towards Perryville, they wanted to go from the river towards the church. So from east to west instead of the way it's currently written. But I wanted to consult with you because I was just informed of it as well. So at the next meeting, I will be introducing that amendment to this ordinance.
Well, maybe we should just table this then.
Good.
I mean,
Okay, is that a motion to table then?
yeah, you can, like I say, do two things. Well, I mean, if council wants to study it more, I mean, go ahead and table if you want. I mean, but there's no discussion on your table
I was not aware
motion.
that the police department made this request, so. And it's a state traffic light.
So that's why I said that I would make the motion at the next meeting, but I wanted to put it on your radar because I just found out about it as well.
I'm saying you can table it, but if you want to ask any questions, do it before you table it. And then table it. I mean, it's up to you, or just go ahead and read it in and amend it. Or did we find out how many parking spaces additional parking spaces we can add by going that direction?
I have the number, I don't have it off the top of my head, but above, I think.
Okay.
And we are going to have limitations, I believe, for some of the spaces because of the curb cuts that are going to be made down closer to Hutchins Park for the new residences that were built.
Councilmember Robertson? Oh.
Are you finished speaking? Okay. Just while we're on this topic, I mean, I get the concern with the light. I think it would probably just make sense to remove the light on Congress that direction at that point. But I think my concern would be not having the ability to come in off of Union really hurts the ability for folks to get downtown. You'd have to go down Bourbon or one of the following streets to hit that one way down Washington. But, you know, someone that lives in that area, I very much like being able to come the opposite direction of Congress as proposed by DPW and the police department. You know, so it's a catch-22 because the ways into town and the ways out of town are somewhat limited. And, you know, you could see some congestion in some very residential streets that aren't as wide as Congress is, and two-way traffic on those side streets is a little difficult already. Maybe this requires a little more conversation and maybe even a work session then, you know, if we want to plan out this kind of a bold move. I mean, I like the concept. I think it makes a lot of sense in a lot of ways, but maybe we just need to flesh out something that makes more sense.
Sure, I agree. Actually, I heard of this recently too. You want to explain the thought process behind the change in direction?
Yeah, and that was the biggest issue.
Microphone.
That was actually the biggest concern, and I'm going to be honest with you, it's not something that we actually thought about until we actually started discussing it. I think it was like last week that light would have to be changed. It does affect the whole thing. So I think overall it's not a bad idea, you know, just to change the directions. It's just something that you might want to consider. It was something we brought up just for your consideration.
Well, one thing you could do, an option, just for time, is you could vote on this, and we don't have to put it on for second reading until you're ready, you know.
Right.
I mean, that way we already have a first reading under our belt, you know what I'm saying? You know, because we have 6 months to put it back on the agenda, but there's all kind of ways you could skin this cat. I mean, I have no problem if council wants to talk about it more. Yes, sir.
Yeah, actually, I think, Mr. Mayor, that's a good point. If we vote on it tonight for first reading, that gives us the opportunity to have a public hearing well in advance of any second reading, and we can make adjustments there too. I think we need to hear from the public on this.
Sure, absolutely. And like I said, I just heard of the change in direction last week too, so it'd be no problem if we just want to take our time with it and make sure it's right. But by voting on it tonight, it kind of gets the ball rolling a little bit.
I think that's the right approach. I agree. Because this is going to have to happen. I mean, it's definitely going to increase some parking on Congress. So, I mean, this is going to happen eventually. So I think this does give the citizens a voice to come forward. So it's a very smart ordinance. Whoever brought this up, I think it's a great idea. So I think it's worthy of a second reading.
Thank you. Councilmember Boyer?
I just want to get a legal opinion real quick. Since we're coming up to an election, I don't know if there's a technical sine die.
Well, for purposes of the elected body, there is, but I'm not aware of specifically related to legislation, because this is a 180-day rule that it has to be enacted within 180 days. There's nothing in our charter that speaks to whether it has to be with the same council that introduced it. Does that make sense?
Okay. Thank you. I'm good then.
I just want to confirm, you're not motioning to table?
No, we're going
No,
to
not gonna
vote on
finish.
it on first
No,
reading.
I'm cool with that.
And then we'll put on the agenda when everybody's ready.
We'll have a work session. And
I mean,
hopefully bring in
We
the
still have a
state.
public hearing on it.
Yeah, I
for
was
that
going to say,
conversation.
I would do a first reading vote today, have the public hearing, delay the second reading for a couple meetings so that we have time to incorporate citizen comments, all that stuff. That would be my suggestion.
Right. I would also, because of this, maybe bring in the state to have their opinion on it, because it's their traffic light. If it's going to require something, you know, we need their buy-in on this. So, okay.
Okay.
I'm okay moving forward.
Okay, so I think that's a good game plan. So if there's no other comments, we'll do a roll call vote on it. Okay, we're going to do a roll call vote on ordinance 1154 on first reading. So we got Councilmember Schnegas,
Yes.
Councilmember Boker,
Yes.
Council President,
Yes.
Councilmember Robertson,
Yes.
Councilmember Jones,
Yes.
and Councilmember Boyer.
Yes.
On a roll call vote of 6-0 in the affirmative, City Council Ordinance 1154 concerning change in the traffic pattern on Congress is adopted on first reading, and Council President would like to have the public hearing on May 20th.
Yep, we can do that.
Yep. Public hearing on 1154, ordinance 1154 will be on May 20th. Okay, our final ordinance of the evening is going to be G. Gee, I've never seen so many alphabet numbers in ordinance before. That's a first. I'm telling you, that is a first. Gee whiz. Item G, and that's going to be another traffic pattern change. Of course, that's going to go to Councilmember Boyer.
Mayor, I move to introduce an ordinance concerning the changing of a traffic pattern on Lewis Street.
Second.
Council, I have a motion by Councilmember Boyer, seconded by Councilmember Schnegas. This is a motion to introduce an ordinance concerning change of traffic pattern on Lewis Street. Questions or comments on the introduction? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion to introduce an ordinance carries 6-0 in the affirmative. Council, this will be known as 1155. Ordinance by the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace, Maryland, adopted pursuant to the authority of Article 11E of the Maryland Constitution, the local government article of the annotated Code of Maryland, and Sections 33 and 34 of the Havre de Grace City Charter to change the traffic pattern on Lewis Street. Council will have a motion to adopt 1155 on first reading.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Booker. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Council President. Questions or comments? Councilmember Booker.
Okay. I love you, man. I'm Boyer.
Boyer, sorry. Did I say Boger?
Boker.
These glasses only work like this close in front of me, sorry about that. Can't see
You need
anything.
new
where-
glasses.
You switched up on me.
Okay, so we're talking about Lewis Street. Lewis Street is the street that goes by the hospital. It's not the one over by the high school, it's one by the hospital. Back in 1963, so it was way before my time, there was a change made because of the traffic that was in and around the hospital area. They were having lots of problems with parking and traffic, et cetera, and they decided to make that street one way. When you talk to the local residents, they also talk about how the ambulances needed to have an alternative route, not just down Revolution to Union, but in case something was happening at that intersection, that there would be a clear shot for them. So if you go down Lewis. Now that the hospital has closed, there isn't as much of a need. There is not as much traffic in that area, and the desire is to return it back to two-way traffic to make it easier to get around that intersection. I can tell you personally that my daughter knows very well how to go around that intersection because that's where she failed driver's ed. Trooper Cooper, if anybody knows Trooper Cooper, it's his back pocket thing for all the students, is he would take them up Lewis to that intersection at Washington, and he would tell them to take a right or take a left. And they would pause and be like, no, it's one way. And he goes, okay, go straight. And then he would fail him, and that's how Lexi failed. Because you're not allowed, the only way you can make a turn there is to turn right. So my daughter is thrilled by this. She thought that this was a dirty trick. And as a person who lives in the area, it will make getting around that area much easier. It gives you more alternatives. And it's just the next step of us after the hospital has left. There's a couple of other things that would be nice, including getting rid of some old signs that are in that whole area that are no longer necessary. But this is a first step, and I hope you all approve it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Boyer. Any other questions or comments? Council, we're going to do a roll call vote on ordinance 1155. Councilmember Boyer.
Yes.
Councilmember Schnagens.
Yes.
Councilmember Boker.
Yes.
Council President.
Yes.
Councilmember Robertson.
Yes.
Councilmember Jones.
Yes.
By roll call vote of 6-0 in the affirmative, City Council Ordinance 1155 is adopted on first reading. Council President, public hearing on May 20th, okay?
Yep, glad that's the list.
Okay, we will do public hearing on Ordinance 1155 concerning the traffic pattern change on Lewis Street at the next council meeting on May 20th. Thank you, Council. Item 13 is old business. This evening we have no old business. Item 14 is new business, and I'll hand that off to Dr. Ritchie.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. For your consideration this evening is a geocache permit and license agreement. So the Maritime Museum would like to establish a multi-cache trail for both public use and educational purposes for some of the education that they put on. And they would be isolated to within the area surrounding the museum. There's further detail in the packet if you're interested in that.
Council, a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
A motion by the Council President, seconded by Councilmember Schnagens. Questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say nay. Geocache permit and license agreement, approved, 6-0 in the affirmative. Thank you very much, Dr. Ritchie. And thank you, council. We're going to go to the director's report, and we're going to go right back to Dr. Chris Ritchie.
Thank you, Mayor, Council, Council President, citizens. I'm going to keep my comments brief this evening. I would like to thank Director Bridget Johnson and Laurie Orzowitz for planning and executing a very successful First Friday. Many people attended, and everybody really seemed to enjoy themselves, so congratulations to you and your team, Bridget. This weekend, Foreigner's Journey is returning to the Star Center on Saturday the 11th. And then I did have a chance to go down to Hutchins Park and see the Martha Lewis, and it was really great seeing that ship back in Havre de Grace. I remember as a young child going down to visit that with my uncle. He used to have a boat docked in Havre de Grace, and so it has a part of my history in there too. But then on the 16th, we are going to be welcoming the Pride of Baltimore to Hutchins Park as well. So we're going to have two wonderful ships there for the public to come and enjoy. And then lastly, the municipal election is tomorrow. It is to elect the mayor and 3 members of city council. The election is being held at the Star Center at 700 Congress Avenue, right across the street from City Hall. The polls open at 11 a.m. and they close at 8. I'm sorry, the polls open at 7 a.m. And they close at 8 p.m. And that concludes my comments, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ritchie. We appreciate the update. And we're going to go to Tim Boursier, our Director of Planning. Good evening, Tim.
Good evening. I'll also be brief today. I have April's permit numbers. They've ticked down a bit. We had only 5 new construction permits and 11 renovation, but there is a lot of construction work going on out there right now. It's just not house building. So they're preparing stuff. We're expecting an uptick at the end of the summer, beginning of the fall. So yeah, that was 5 new construction and 11 renovations. If I didn't say that, and that is it for me. Good luck with the election tomorrow. I know it's been a hard-fought season. I'm sure the best people are going to win. I'm confident in the voters of the city that they'll vote in the best people. I wish everybody the best.
Thank you very much, Tim. Appreciate it. Yeah, go ahead.
So a question recently, or just came up a little bit ago, in regards to trees. Are permits required to take down a large tree in the city?
In the right-of-way, they're required to have a state permit. In a yard, we usually don't, unless it's a specimen or champion tree, which is measured, I think, 30 inches at breast height. Then they would have to come to the city and ask.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Tim. Good evening, Ms. Bridget Johnson, the Director of Economic Development and Tourism.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Excuse me for a second. I feel pressured to give a brief report because the other reports were so brief, so I'll try not to take too much time. But update, our department has submitted 6 grants since December of 2023. I've talked about the 5 previous grants. The last one submitted last week by our consultant, Wanda Boker, was to the Community Health and Safety in the amount of $92,814,000. This grant will finance 75 cameras, security system to monitor unauthorized entry and activity in and around the Star Center. So thank you to Joe Conaway with DPW, who helps us with everything. Thank you, Chief. We did we had to get some information in terms of any reports of crime to accompany this grant. So hopefully we receive it. And again, that would be security for the Star Center. The Visitor Center on Pennington Avenue is currently under construction. Inside demolition has been completed. This week we will be installing, or the contractor will install, plumbing. I look forward to giving updates to this on a weekly basis. It's a great project. If you haven't been to the Visitor Center, this is where we are constructing the new restrooms. The Swan Harbor Footbridge project that I talk about all the time will start around May 20th, dependent on weather. We need the ground to be dry. Hopefully we can recruit some Eagle Scouts. It would be a great project for them, as well as other volunteers. As soon as I have the schedule, Councilman Boyer, we will start to recruit volunteers to put the footbridge together. The Economic Development Advisory Board meets on Wednesday, May 15th. The meeting will start this month at 3:30 p.m., not at 4 o'clock, but at 3:30 p.m. And we will run until about 4:45, bless you, to 4:45. And that's because the Chamber of Commerce will be hosting Miss Denise Miller with Amtrak. There is an event at the Vanderbilt Inn on May 15th from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Tickets are $15. And again, this is a Chamber of Commerce meeting. The guest speaker is Miss Denise Miller with Amtrak. And I want to say again that EDAP will start at 3:30 p.m. It normally starts at 4 p.m. Wednesday, May 15th. Thank you, Dr. Ricci, for mentioning First Fridays. I wanted to say in terms of the visitor center at our temporary location, which we are madly in love with, as well as the volunteers, we have experienced, since we've been there, just an uptick and the amount of people that come in the visitor center. It has tripled on the weekends. At the location on Pennington Avenue, we would get anywhere from 15 to 25 people on a combined Saturday and Sunday. Now we are averaging on the weekends, Saturday and Sunday, anywhere between 65 and 85 people just walking in, wanting to know who we are, what we do. And with that, our sales have gone up. So George, I will probably come again for additional funding. But the good thing is we sell, we buy, we sell, we buy. So that location is really working out for us. It's working out for the volunteers as well. So as the build out at the visitor center happens on Pennington Avenue, we will continue to enjoy our space on Washington Street. Speaking of, we are always seeking volunteers to work city events. So if anyone listening would like to volunteer for any city events, First Fridays, Star Center, Opera House, anything, we are always seeking volunteers. They can call the Visitor Center at 410-939-2100. And last but not least, always continue to follow us on explorehavregrace.com, Facebook, and Instagram. I think that concludes my report for this evening, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Ms. Johnson. Any questions for Mrs. Johnson? Sir.
Hey, Director Johnson, as well as social media, how can folks sign up for your newsletter?
Our newsletter through the city website, well, anyone can call me. My number is 410-939-1800, extension 1175. I will sign them up. They can also email me, or on the city website under Department of Economic Development and Tourism, the newsletters are listed there, and there is a link for them to sign up.
Perfect, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, Ms. Johnson. We appreciate the update. And we're going to go to Mr. George O'Hoarty, our Director of Finance. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council, citizens, both here and at home. First of all, I'd like to thank council for ordinances 1148 and 49. We can move forward with both the sewer camera and the portable observation unit, and they'll both be good additions. One a replacement that's much needed, and the other is new techniques in crowd control. So either way, they're both movements forward in the right direction, and I thank you for your support for those. Now on to the topics at hand, to the major funds. The general fund, we didn't have a whole lot of revenue since my last report, about $135,000, and we spent a little, about $1.7 million between capital, payroll, and debt service payments. So it declined a little over $1.5 million, and now sits at 3.1. It was anticipated. That won't be the same every time period we look, or we still look like we're on target for what we anticipated in the budget. The Water and Sewer Fund, we had $1.15 million, interestingly enough, in revenues, primarily the May billing, and we've spent just under $570,000, so the fund increased a little over $580,000 and sits at over $5 million. The Marina Fund, we had revenues of just a little over $8,000, and we spent just under $18,000. So it declined $9,800, but sits at $841,300. So it's still in a very healthy condition. All funds are operating pretty much as planned, and there were no real surprises in what we saw. They were all anticipated in the budget. And that, sir, concludes my report for this evening.
George, thank you very much for the update. Counselor, do you have any questions for Mr. DeHorty? Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. And good evening, Mr. Melizer, the Director of Public Works.
Mayor, council members, citizens at home. I'd like to thank again, like Director DeHorty said, with Ordinance 1148 and 1149, I appreciate the second reading. To get into the report, I'd like to thank Linda Planer from the EOC. She came down and trained us on the new CTY system. The company actually got bought out. It's now called Final Site Connect. So appreciate her training our new city employees on those. I know with multiple construction projects and different things coming down the pipeline that we have, you know, I do encourage the citizens to join up. If you're listening, you can, again, as Director Johnson mentioned, call me at 410-939-1800, and that's extension 2100, or by email. You can email myself, ejm@havredegracemd.com, or Angela C@havredegracemd.com. That does rhyme, so. On to the operations. We are flushing citywide the hydrants. So we do that twice a year for water quality to get rid of some of the mineral deposits. And we do recommend not using the water during that time, just till the flushing's done, as you may experience some pressure issues, a discoloration, things like that. We don't recommend washing clothes or that type of thing if they're in your area while they're flushing, just to give a recommendation. And we do plan on having that all wrapped up by May 31st, just to give the residents an update. Third thing, 3 new employees I'd like to welcome aboard. Chris Borneman, Tanya Jones, Ron Stockstill, and shout out to Jim Reynolds and the HR team getting those on board. Lastly, Havre de Grace Elementary School, I did a military child appreciation reading for the students. That was really fun. Shared some great stories and heard about their family members. So I just want to give a shout out to Havre de Grace Elementary for hosting me. Thank you, Mayor. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Council, have any questions for Mr. Melizer? Thank you, Jay.
Thanks, sir.
Good evening, Chief.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I just want to take the time to just talk about something. I know we don't have a scheduled council meeting next Monday, but next week is actual National Police Week. And for anybody who's not aware what National Police Week is, it was actually established in 1962 by President Kennedy. And he proclaimed that on May the 15th, that would be the National Peace Officer Memorial Day. And what basically happens is whatever calendar week that May 15th lays on becomes National Police Officer Week. The reason why I bring that up is because it's very, very special, and the president at that time wanted to recognize law enforcement officers who were killed in the line of duty, trying to save their community or protect their community from criminal activity. So unfortunately, right now there's about 23,000 names on the memorial wall, and then after this next coming week, there will be another 300 names that will be put on that wall. So we simply ask that people just take a moment, and if you can, just put your thoughts and prayers towards law enforcement officers. That would be greatly appreciated. The other thing I'd like to do is I'd like to thank the council again for approval for the mobile security unit. That's going to really help us out. That's going to help us out with the construction downtown, also during bad weather events, different activities. So we're really looking forward to it. And finally, while National Police Week starts on Sunday, also Sundays is Mother's Day. So I want to wish everyone who's a mom a happy and hopefully a very, very pleasant Mother's Day. That would be it, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Chief. Appreciate the update. Thank you. We're going to go to item 16, business from the mayor's office. So the trolley started up a couple weekends ago, the weekend of April 26th, and then it ran last weekend too. We only had 4 good trolley days in total since it started up this year, mostly because we had a very rainy weekend, this past couple of days. But tell you what, the trolleys came out in the bang, 4 days running, 351 miles, 326 passengers, and no incidents. So I know a lot of people are happy. I've seen a lot of people hit the ice cream shop with the trolley, so that's good. So also had the pleasure of attending the Alfred B. Hilton Memorial event. I know a lot of my citizens know. If you haven't seen it already, that beautiful memorial down at David Craig Park that was dedicated on November 4th, 2022. The Memorial Foundation Committee that worked really hard to make sure that became a reality is still working hard to raise money for, other things to put around that memorial. And so we always support them every year. They have a fundraiser dinner event, and they had one this past Thursday night. So it was well attended. I want to thank everybody for the invitation and allow me to say a few words at the Alfred Hilton event. So I said, it's a beautiful memorial, which makes me really just think about how lucky we are in our city to have such great memorials dedicated to men and women of service. So one, you have the Alfred B. Hilton Memorial, which is Harford County's only Congressional Medal of Honor winner. And then you have the Great Gold Star Memorial that is down at Concord Point that I know our own Councilmember Boker and Craig Rilling, was that 2018 we dedicated it? 19. Herschel Woody Williams, right? Yeah, he was there. Yep, I had a chance to shake his hand. It was a great day. So we have a beautiful Gold Star Memorial. We have the World War I, World War II, World War I mostly memorial down at Tidings Park, and we have Veterans Park as well. So, like I say, we often get compliments a lot from people who visit from APG or elsewhere who are veterans about our city. So, like I say, it's very important, and we're very lucky in Havre de Grace to have such great exhibits. And finally, as I said, tomorrow is our annual day of voting in the city of Havre de Grace, and so the voting polls open at 7 a.m. and it closes at 8, and there's only one place to vote, and that's at the Star Center. The Star Center, which, for some old timers, that's the high school auditorium gymnasium on Congress Avenue. So anyway, we hope to see everybody out there, and with that said, wish everybody a good night. And we're going to go to comments from council members. We're going to start off with Councilmember Robertson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, I'm going to yield my time to Councilmember Boker.
Okay. Thank you very much, Councilmember Robertson. Councilmember Boker, you're on.
Thank you, Mayor, council, citizens who are still in the audience with us, and those who are watching. I'll be brief. So I also attended the Star and Alfred B. Hilton, the fundraiser for the memorial. That was fantastic. Excellent speech given by retired General Randy Taylor, and of course our very own Mayor Martin. Very inspiring speeches, very moving, very truthful, very heartfelt. So I certainly appreciate that. The only thing I really have is what I do every time I'm up here on the dais and I give my closing remarks is I want to thank the Susquehanna Host Company, and especially the police. I did not know about President Kennedy's, making that a law, that this is a police appreciation. Is that what you said? Police appreciation? Yeah, Police Week. So that's fantastic. So I always want to give them a shout out anyway, and all of our first responders who are out there keeping us safe. That's all I have, Mayor Martin. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments, Councilmember Boker. Councilmember Jones.
Good evening. I'm also going to be brief. I missed a lot of great things. I was at a conference in North Carolina for work and then spent some time with my mom pre-Mother's Day. So I missed the Alfred B. Hilton dinner, and I also missed First Friday. I was really bummed, but I heard it was fantastic. So I'm looking forward to jumping back in. Whoop, no, I forgot. I have surgery on my foot on Wednesday. So so if you don't see me around, right. So if you don't see me around, that's why. But I'll be lurking. I'm always lurking. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Jones. Good evening, Councilmember Boyer.
Thank you. I want to thank PJ for the bat boxes. What's interesting is how things happen in Havre de Grace. It comes from one idea and then bounces around and then finally finds somebody to get it done. Morgan Jones, believe it or not, came to the tree commission, said, hey, I think we need bat boxes. And Joe Conway was just like, hey, that's a really good idea. But they could never figure out how to get them installed. And then pop in the Boy Scouts to make it happen. So that's just another great example of how there's an idea starts over here in a commission and then it gets to fruition, and it's just wonderful. And I was texting with Morgan today, letting her know about it, and she's super excited. And there's some society of, I'm going to pause, I'm not going to be able to get it. There's a bat society that has a scientific name that I can't say, that would be very thrilled by this, and she's going to let them know. I want to thank Tim Bossier for going kayaking with us last Friday. The Pirates of the North took him out to identify a couple of potential locations for launches when Amtrak comes in to do all the changes to the bridges. And we had a great time, both in and out of the water. and I think we might get him back kayaking, but probably in a different boat. But it was a great experience. And I want to remind everybody that this weekend is the Roper Romp. It's at 1 o'clock. If you want tickets, you can get them on Eventbrite. All the proceeds go to the Lock House. And the Green Team will be selling more compost on May 18th. If you're starting to work on your gardens, please consider supporting the Green Team with their compost sales. It's all part of the food composting program that's down at Hutchins Park to try to help bring some money into it. And they also have a film on May 16th about the Conowingo Dam at 7 p.m. at the Opera House. It should be very interesting. That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Boyer. And good evening, Councilmember Shenagus.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, Administration, citizens at home. Oh, how lovely the weather swept in this weekend, washing away all our dreams, but watering the plants. Actually, it was great that we were still able to have a lot of events go on, even though Defenders Day had to be put on hold, and we know the fireworks will be available for the future for us to see. I just want to thank the 4th of July team for all their efforts and everyone else involved for going through the process of getting it together as an event for our community. And we will continue to support you and anything that you need. I will keep my volunteer shirt for the next go-round. I want to say it was amazing to attend the first farmers market of the season. I actually went to my first winter farmers market 2 weeks ago, and I didn't realize how it was very similar people and that it was kind of nice to go to a farmer's market in a different location. But it worked out well. It was well attended, even though it was raining. And I want to thank the Cat Club. I saw many out there in their orange shirts, still trying to keep our city clean, and even in the rain. So thank you very much. As we have the Martha Lewis here, we also have another boat coming into town, the Pride of Baltimore. It's coming, it should due to arrive May 16th at Hutchins Park. It's going to come in and it will sail out May 20th. Go to explorehavredegrace.com, look up the scheduled events. There's things around town with the crew. There's opportunities to go on a tour on the boat, and it'll be great. So I just want to thank everyone for being here tonight, informing us and telling us about all the great things you do. It definitely shows that we, even though we are individual departments, we work as a team, and it's just great to have everybody here. And I thank you and look forward to the future as we go into our election season. And that's all I have to say. Back to you, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Shenagus. Appreciate it. And business from the Council President.
Mr. Mayor, Council, when we did the agenda, I never thought that with three public hearings and 9 ordinances and resolutions that would be done at 8:47, but I move to close.
Okay, ooh, I lost that bit. Okay, council, I have a motion by the council president to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second?
Seconded by Councilmember Shenegis. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion to adjourn carries 6-0 in the affirmative. It's now 8:47. Thank you very much, everybody. Be safe. We'll see you back here